Hey, you guys. Welcome to Talk About It Thursdays. I am your host, Karen Bailey. I will give everybody just a few minutes to jump on and we will get started for tonight. I hope everybody is having an amazing week so far. I am glad to be back with you guys. I enjoyed my little time off and we partied like a rock star. And we're back. We got birthdays coming up. You know, if it's your birthday, post your birthday on the page. We want to celebrate with you. We love celebrating your wins. We love celebrating your accomplishments. Don't be ashamed to post it on the page. You never know. You know, something that you may be doing could encourage somebody else, could help somebody else get back on track, can help somebody else believe that if you can do it, they can do it too. So let's encourage one another, you guys, but let's also post those wins on the page. People need to see us winning because I know we are. We're just not talking about it. So let's do that so that we can encourage somebody else, you guys. And last week, or the week before, let me fix that. Our topic was when love doesn't live here. You know, you have to recognize when the love is gone, you know, out of your friendships, out of your relationships with your significant others, you know, and then you got to decide, you know, is it worth fighting for, or is it time to cut your losses and go your separate ways? So I hope you got something out of when love does not live here anymore. You guys, our topic tonight is going to really make us have to take a close look at ourselves. It's really going to make us have to be honest with ourselves. And a lot of times that's the issue. You know, it's easy to see everybody else's faults, but it's always hard to see your own. So tonight, the question is, maybe it's me. Sometimes it's you in the situation. Sometimes it's you in the relationship that needs to get your stuff together. Sometimes it's you that's the problem. So that's what we want to talk about tonight. Because Sister I Got You is all about being the better version of yourself year after year. And you can't get better until you face some things about yourself. So I'm ready to step on some toes. So you may as well button up your seatbelt. We finna go for a ride. Now they say that there's 3 sides to every story. What they say, what you say, and then there's the truth. There's always 3 sides because everybody tends to want to look like the person that's less than the villain in the situation. Nobody wants to be seen as the villain in the situation. So we all kind of taint the story just a little bit to make ourselves look better. That's why there's 3 sides. And that truth is what we want to deal with today. So in order to achieve any type of personal growth, you guys, we have to be willing to take a look at that man in the mirror. You know, Michael Jackson came out with a song that was called Man in the Mirror. And he talked about how if we want to see change, you've got to start with you. You know, it's easy to look at everybody else and see what they need to do. Oh, she needs to change this. He needs to change this. But what do you need to change about you? What do you need to do to make your world better? Sometimes it's within you. Sometimes you just need to take a close look at that man or that woman in the mirror. And you have to make up your mind that you're tired of being sick and tired and you want to make some changes in your life. So a lot of time, your better life starts with you making the changes within yourself. Because you got to think about it. In all the situations you've been through, all the heartaches that you've been through, all the different scenarios you've been through, the common denominator is you. So just understand, we have to look at ourselves and we have to see our part in the situation. We have to see how we keep going through the same stuff over and over again. Look at that man in the mirror and find out why you do what you do. so that you can make the necessary changes. But it requires you being honest with yourself. Because one thing I know is nobody is always wrong and nobody is always right. So we all make mistakes. We're all flawed. And it's always easy to see everybody else's faults. But you have to be intentional and really want to know the truth and get to the bottom of things to take a look at yourself. So that's what we want to do today. We're going to take a look at that man in the mirror so that we can see if we need to change our ways. And it's always hard to see where you're doing something wrong in the relationship. It's so much easier to blame everybody else and play the victim. Y'all know that some of us are Academy Award winners when it comes to playing the victim. We can turn those tears off and on. We can make everybody feel sorry for us. You can have everybody about ready to fight, over the way that you present the situation. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it me? Why do these things keep happening to me? Something about you attracts that situation. Something about you is drawn to that type of situation. So you have to find out the root cause of why you keep doing what you're doing if you don't like your life. So let's talk about 20 signs that you may be the problem, sis. There's 20 signs. The first one is your go-to answer is always no. If it's unfamiliar, if it's not your idea, if it requires some sacrifice on your part, you usually say no. You're quick to say no before you even understand what all is being entailed in it, what all is going to happen in it. You're just quick to say no because you don't like the way it sounds. You've never done it before, and you're not willing to be open-minded, and you're afraid. Most people that are quick to say no, they're afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. They're afraid to step out and do something that they've never done. Number 2, you sabotage something that's going good for no good reason. If you find yourself doing that, if you're always seeing problems where there are no problems, if you're always messing up a good thing, that means that you're the problem. Because a lot of times you're afraid to go all in because you've been hurt before. But when are you going to get over that? When are you going to get tired of, just stepping your toe in the water? Life is about jumping all in sometimes. Sometimes you just got to go for it. But until you make up your mind to live in the now and quit worrying about what might happen, quit worrying about who did this last time, every time that, you give your heart to somebody, they break it. Stop thinking about that, because everybody is not the same. And a lot of times you'll sabotage a good thing simply because all you can remember is the last time. The last time you loved like that, the last time you tried this, it didn't work. Try it again. If you got breath in your body, try it again. Don't be afraid of life. Life is going to go on whether you do it or not. So you might as well have a good story to tell. You might as well say, girl, I tried that mess again. That man was a fool. I tried that, girl, and I landed flat on my butt, but I enjoyed the ride. Enjoy the ride. And enjoy your right now. And quit sabotaging things, worrying about what could happen. And worrying about the fact that it may not have worked out the last time you tried. And then sometimes you refuse to compromise in any way, which will sabotage your relationship. When you're so set in your ways and you're so stubborn or you're selfish, that ruins a relationship. That ruins a relationship. So you have to stop sabotaging a good thing. So if you're doing that, you find yourself always worrying about when it's going to fall apart, you're the problem. Number 3, you always want the easy stuff. You only want to do the easy stuff. You'll let everybody else do the work. But when it comes to you, you want the easy stuff. Relationships, whether they're in a romantic sense or friendships, it's all about give and take. Being a taker is easy. It's when you're a giver. That's when you find out the kind of person you really are. Because sometimes you have to give even when you don't feel like it. And sometimes you have to do things that aren't easy just to preserve the relationship. Sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone because that's what's best for that relationship. You have to sacrifice sometime if you want things to work. But if you're always that one, when things get a little hard, you take off running, or you give up on a friendship, or you give up on a relationship, then you're the problem. And if you let everybody do for you, but you won't return the same, you're a taker. You're the problem. Number 4, if you're the kind of person that goes silent instead of talking about your feelings, you're one of those that stonewalls people. If you're going through something, or if you don't like something somebody does, you just avoid people, or you get quiet. And especially when you're in a romantic relationship, that's a cruel thing to do to your partner, is to be in the same place and you're not talking to them and you're not expressing to them what's going on with you, because that other person doesn't know what to do. And they're trying to get answers out of you, and you're giving them those quick little one-word answers. That's abuse, you guys. Something is wrong with you. If you're not willing to give your partner what they need as much as you think they should give you what you need, then you're the problem. And communication is key, you guys. You have to communicate the good, the bad, and the ugly. You don't get to choose what you communicate, and you don't get to pout and decide that you're not going to talk to somebody. You're going to give them the silent treatment. That's a problem that you have. Number 5, you withhold affection when you're mad. What sense does that make? That's why the Bible talks about don't let the sun go down on your wrath. You never know who's going to be there tomorrow. And you have wasted a whole day being mad, not showing love, not showing that person that you care. And that's one of the things I hate so much about funerals. It's just the pretense. Just how people come from out of the woodwork that haven't talked to you for 20, 30 years. And then those are the ones that are doing all the weeping and carrying on, at the funeral. If you love somebody, don't let an argument, don't let a misunderstanding keep you from showing them love. Because God gives us people for a season. You don't know when their season is up, and you don't know when your season is up. You could be taken. So if you're the kind of person that withholds affection from the people that you love when you're mad, you're the one with the problem. Number 6, this is a big one, you guys. You never say you're sorry. You never say you're sorry. You have a problem with saying that small sentence, I'm sorry. If that is hard for you to say, you have a problem. You are the problem, because there's nothing wrong with being able to say you're sorry. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. Sometimes I'm sorry that we argued. I'm sorry that we had a misunderstanding. I'm sorry things didn't work out the way we wanted them to. You have got to make that word part of your language. If you want healthy relationships, you have got to learn how to say you're sorry and mean it and be sincere about it. You don't always have to be the one that's right all the time. Sometimes you need to say you're sorry just to preserve the relationship, just to get things back on track. And the key to everlasting love is being able to admit when you've done something wrong, you guys. Pretending you haven't done something wrong is not helping anything. And if you don't take responsibility for your actions, you can be sure that that relationship is going to fail in some kind of way. And being able to apologize, you guys, is a sign of spiritual maturity. Like I say, you apologizing doesn't mean that you were wrong. Sometimes it means that I'm sorry this situation got out of hand. I'm sorry that we raised our voices. I'm sorry that we disrespected one another. Sometimes you have to be the mature person in order to keep the relationship together. But that requires spiritual maturity. And if you're not able to do that, you're the problem. And if you're quick to shift blame at the drop of a hat, you're quick to try to point the finger at somebody else, you're the problem, sis. And if your significant other, is one of those people that, they hold things in. And sometimes our men do that simply because they know that you're never going to apologize. They know that you think that you're always right. They know that there's no point in talking to you. That's a sad thing. That's a sad existence, you guys. We have got to be better people than that. And we've got to understand that in order for relationships to work, it takes two people. And like I said earlier, nobody's always right and nobody's always wrong. Number 7, ask yourself, is your significant other truly your partner or just somebody that you complain to your friends about? 7 says you vent to your friends instead of working out things with your partner. Your partner is supposed to be that person that has your back no matter what. Friends are wonderful, friends are great, but they're not in that relationship with you. You need to understand and make a distinction between what you need to be sharing with your friends and what you need to be sharing with that person you're spending your life with. I went through that situation where somebody I was in a marriage with, he talked to his friends and wouldn't talk to me. And eventually that tore our relationship apart. But when you don't understand the fact that you are supposed to be able to talk to your partner about any and everything, and if you can't do that, you're the problem. Pretending everything is okay when you're around that person that you're dating or that you're in a relationship with, and then talking bad behind their back, come on now. That says a lot about you. A lot about you. Imagine if you found out that the person that you love was actually lying to you, saying everything was okay, but then viciously talking behind your back. You wouldn't want to stay in that relationship. We need to treat people the way that we would want to be treated. So if you're doing things like that, ask yourself, am I the problem? Yes, you are. You've got to stop doing that and put people in their proper place. If you choose to be in a relationship, then that is the person that you vent to, the person that you're in the relationship with. And y'all work those things out. Number 8, you create drama just for the thrill of it. Some people are drama queens and kings. Some people just can't be satisfied when things are nice and calm. They always got to stir things up and always got to start a problem or start a fight where there is no problem. If you're that kind of person, you're an adrenaline junkie and always got to keep things stirred up and stir up the peace, you're the problem. If you're the kind of person that likes to stir things up or feels like if things are going too smooth, that person doesn't love you. Some people really believe that if that person is not making a fuss or this, that, and the other, or constantly, involved in some kind of drama, some people feel like that they're not loved. And that's a sickness, because we should crave peace. I know I do. Crave peace. And you should be thankful when you and your partner can sit down and peacefully talk, or sit down and read a book together, or go for a long walk together. And if those things bother you, or if you always find that that's just too boring for you, or that's not exciting enough for you, then you're the problem, sis. Can you be asked a direct question without hesitating or shifting the conversation somewhere else? If the answer is no, then you're the problem. There's either trust issues with the person that's asking you the questions, or you're the person that can't be trusted. Number 9, This is another way to know if you're the problem. You can't let things go. Hey, Kinsley, you can't let things go. You know, you're always rehashing the same old stuff. Every time y'all have a disagreement, you're bringing up the same old stuff. You know, this is because you probably have some deep insecurities about yourself and about your relationship. You know, and if you want your relationship to survive, you have got to learn how to move on, brush that stuff under the rug, leave it in the past where it is, wipe the slate clean, and move on. You know, if you're not over something, tell that person, be honest and say, I'm still hurting because of what you did last year. You know, I don't know what to do about this. I don't want to keep hurting over this. That's what a partner's for. A partner's there. You're so silly, Kenzie. Your partner's there to help you through those hard times. You know, in relationships, we're all going to make mistakes. And then we have to deal with the aftermath of our mistakes. And so it's up to you and that person to try to work those things through. Because there are some things that you just don't get over overnight. Infidelity, being lied to, you know, those type of things. You don't just get over that, but you need to be honest with your partner and let them know that's still bothering me. I don't want to keep bringing that up, but I'm still hurting from that, so that you guys can get together and work on a solution. Whether it means that you have to prove yourself over and over and over again until that hurt leaves your partner, then that's what you do. If you really want to be in that relationship, find out what you can do to make them feel better so that they don't continue to hurt because of something that you did. And then without forgiveness, any relationship, you guys, is going to slowly begin to dissolve a little bit by little bit. You'll be there, but you won't be there. I don't know if y'all have been in relationships like that. I have. Well, I was there in the physical, but the rest of me was not there because the forgiveness was not there, because things ate away at the relationship and you become disconnected. And then you're left with two incredibly unhappy people just trying to coexist with one another. But it does not have to be like that. 10, if your partner is afraid of you, you're the problem. If they can't be completely honest with you, if your friends can't be completely honest with you because they know you can't handle the truth, you're the problem. And then ask yourself, can you give out the same amount of grace that we all expect God to give to us? If you can't do that, then you're the problem. I know that's something I got to work on for myself because I want to be forgiven for everything that I do, but it's hard to forgive people for some of the stuff that they do. But we have got to learn, hey Tim, we have got to learn to give out the same amount of grace, the same amount of forgiveness that we're asking God for. And until you can do that, then you're the problem. And I know we're not God. I know we're not perfect. But when you're asking God to forgive you, you better make sure that you've forgiven other people the same way if you want God to hear you. Number 11, you're always trying to change everybody but yourself. If you're always finding fault with everybody else, if you think everybody else needs to change but you're the problem. Number 12, you're always judging people. You know, it's one thing to have been in a bad situation and you get out and you're on the other side. But what I hate is people that have gone through the same thing you've gone through, passing judgment on you just because they're not in it anymore. You know, I know what it's like to be in an abusive relationship, and I know it's not easy to get out of that sometimes. So I try my best not to judge people that stay in those type of relationships, because that's a mind thing. That's a mind thing. And you have to slowly get out of those things sometimes. It's better that you go to that person and say, hey, listen, I'm here for you. I've been through what you're going through. If you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm here because I've been here. I know what this feels like. Rather than judging people, use your experience to be that resource for them. Use your experience to be that person that can understand what they're going through. Because it's not always easy to just say, I'm going to pack my stuff and get out. Sometimes people don't have nowhere to go. Sometimes people don't have support. So be careful about always judging people. And when you used to not have money and now you doing well and you got your life on track, don't judge people that's struggling. Don't judge them. Be that helping hand for them. Be that person that says, you know what, I see you over here. I see you struggling. Is there something I can help you do? Is there something I can show you? I can show you a resource, to get you some food stamps or get you on housing, this, that, and the other. Don't look down your nose at other people just because you have gotten past that point. Because we've all struggled. I know what it's like to not have much of anything. So I'm grateful for where I am now. But I refuse to look down on other people. I refuse to judge somebody else because I know how hard it was for me to get to the point where I am now. So that's why you have to stay humble. Because it don't take much for you to end up right back in the situation you were in. One bad decision, one bad turn, one bad mistake, and you can be back in the situation that you were in. So don't judge people. And if you're that person that's always talking about people, gossiping about people, putting people's business out there, you're the first one to tell about something bad happening in somebody's life or their relationship and always trying to slander people, you're the problem. You've got some issues with yourself, or else you wouldn't have time to be talking about anybody else. 13. You take things too personally. If you're that person that can go from smiling 1 minute and then you go to 10 just that quick, people can't joke with you, people can't have fun with you. It's not them, it's you. You have the problem. You have anger issues. You've got self-esteem issues. So when you start taking things too personally, you make people not want to be around you. People start saying, you know what, I don't have time for him. He's too much drama. I don't have time for her because you can't even talk to her without her getting an attitude. So if that's you and you're the one that's always thinking everybody's bashing you and mistreating you and doing you wrong, it's you with the problem. Number 14, and this one I have struggles with even myself. You compare yourself to others. And that's a natural thing to do because you know what? We were raised up, and even in school, we learned to compete with one another. Everything was about being better, making better grades, being the better athlete, being the better this, being the better that. They taught us that. So now we're always looking at our side eyes at everybody else, trying to compete and trying to stay up or trying to get past somebody. And I struggle with that myself. And I have to remind myself all the time, Karen, run your own race. Run your own race. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Don't worry about it. Congratulate people when they're doing good. Congratulate people when their relationship is moving on. Congratulate people when they're achieving what they're achieving. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Stay in your own lane because you have your own race to run. You have your own race to run. And you're happier when you're not comparing yourself to other people. And people that compare themselves to other people, when they talk about something that somebody else achieves, they always have to throw themselves in and say, well, I thought about doing that, but this, that, and the other. I tried doing that, but I'm supposed to be getting this, but, they're always trying to let you know that they're going to get or they're going to do what somebody else has always done. You don't have to do that. It don't take all of that. What's for them is for them, and you got to remember what's for you is for you. You can't always have what everybody else has. You can't live like everybody else does. And if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people to the point you're making yourself miserable, you're the problem. And in relationships, you guys, if you've got a partner that's always trying to compete with the Joneses, putting you in debt, you know, trying to keep up with everybody else because they want to look a certain way, they want to have a certain status, then somebody needs to give. Somebody needs to speak up and say, hey, we doing too much. Hey, we need to stay in our own lane. We need to worry about what we got going on over here. Somebody's got to speak up, and you've got to stop the madness. Because when you compare yourself to other people, you're going to always be miserable. So if you're doing that and you're letting that affect your life, then you're the one with the problem. 15, you're afraid to give too much love, and you don't even know how to receive love from somebody else. You're scared to give too much, but when somebody tries to give you love, you don't even know how to accept it. You've got to be willing to understand what's going on inside of you. And you got to be honest with people. If you've never been loved a certain way, if being loved a certain way is scary to you, tell that person, tell them you're not used to somebody doing this, you're not used to somebody doing that. Just to let them know, I appreciate what you're doing, but you got to let me work up to this because I've never had this before. You know, it's all about communication. It's all about letting that other person know that you appreciate them, but you may not be ready for some of the things, you know, that they're trying to bring to the relationship. It's all about honesty. It's all about open, good communication. You can get through anything with good communication. And then when you're always trying to stay 2 steps ahead of that other person because you're not going to let them hurt you, you know, you're not going to be the one playing the fool, all this and other, you're suspicious about everything and everyone, you're the problem. You can't even enjoy being loved because you're always trying to see what the catch is. What are they up to? Why are they treating me this good? This, that, and the other. Then you're the problem. 16. Being excessively needy, possessive, jealous, argumentative, you know, codependent. That's a problem. Everybody needs their space. Everybody needs to breathe. Everybody needs to be allowed to be their own person. And if you have issues with letting people be who they are and loving people for who they are, you're the problem. You're the problem. 17. You have an excuse for everything. No matter what somebody brings to you and says, hey, you know, I don't like the way you did this, or hey, you did such and such, they always got an excuse. They always have a defense. If you're always defending yourself and never listening and never trying to get an understanding where you might have gone wrong or where you might have offended somebody or where you may have caused a relationship to kind of fall apart, then you're the one with the problem. 18, it's your way or it's the highway. If you're that kind of person that you are set in your ways, I'm not accepting this, and this, and if this happens, I'm done. You know, it's fine to have standards, but you need to make those things known in the beginning of a relationship. Even with your friends. If you've got boundaries that you've got set, hey, I don't like it when people do this, and this. Don't expect people to read your mind. Let them know. But if you're one of those people, somebody make one mistake and you're done, you're out, you're cut off, you're the problem. 19, you fail to hold yourself accountable when things start falling apart. You know, it's quick for most of us to say, well, you know what, they did this, they did that, they did that. Turn that thing around and look in the mirror and say, but what did I do? If you're not willing to say, you know, but what did I do? What could I have done better? What could I have done when they did this to kind of save the relationship? What could I have done to make things better? If you're not willing to be accountable or you're not willing to see your part in the situation, you're the one with the problem. 20, you keep a scorecard of the mistakes of other people. You're always keeping that in the back of your mind. who did what, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as you see any sign that they might be doing the same thing, you're done. You're over it. You know, that kind of thing is going to ruin any relationship. You have got to get over some stuff. And like I said earlier, everything you can't get over right away. But if you really want that friendship to work, if you really want that relationship to work, you start working on it a day at a time and 24 hours at a time. We made it through this 24 hours. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? That good communication and say, you know what? I felt good about us today. I enjoyed spending time with you today. That's maturity. That's when you know you're doing some grown folk stuff. When you can let go of the mistakes of the past and deal with people 24 hours at a time. Because nobody's perfect. But if you want relationships to work, you got to do those things together. You got to be willing to put in effort just like that other person. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're the problem. And some of our behaviors, you guys, you know, I would like to say they're not our fault, but at a certain time in life, you need to not be blaming your childhood for everything. You know, once you become a grown-up and you've been through some things, you've had some relationships, don't blame your upbringing. And I know some of us were not shown what it's like to have a healthy relationship, but we've seen that in the world. We may not have seen it in our immediate family. We may not have seen it, you know, with our immediate circle, but we've seen what healthy looks like. So let's not keep blaming our past for our behavior now. Because when you keep doing that, you're not holding yourself accountable. And my final thought, if any of those 20 signs sounds like you, it's time to put in some work. If you want to turn your life around, you have a choice. You have to look at that man in the mirror and recognize that sometimes you are the problem. And what are you going to do about it? You're the only one that can make the changes, because you can be a year from now either having a better life because you've moved forward and you've made some major changes in your life and you're working on self-improvement, or in a year you can be looking in the mirror at that same old person that you've been unhappy with all this time. And just understand, if you find yourself desiring something that you've never experienced before, you know, I was outside in the yard the other day and my friend Rashida, I shared this with her. I said, you know what? Every time I'm out in the yard, it seems like that's when God talks to me and talks to me about the desires of my heart. You know, God knows, you know, that I can do all of that stuff in the yard, but he also knows that I don't want to be the one to do all of that. I want somebody there that loves being out there, that has the same appreciation for a yard and a house that I do, and wants to make things beautiful, wants me to have something beautiful to come home to. You know, I feel those things in my heart, and God has to remind me that those things were put in your heart for a reason. Those desires were given to us by God. So sometimes you'll find yourself desiring something that you never had in the past relationship, you've never experienced in your life. Hold on to those things. Those are the things you need to pray for. Because if you're desiring any of those things, that means God has a plan for your life. But you're going to have to trust him, and you're going to have to know that everything may not happen overnight, but if we keep our hands in God's hands, he'll work it out the way that it needs to be. You guys, let's say a quick prayer before we end tonight. Father God, I come before you. First of all, I want to thank you for everybody on Sister I Got You. I want to thank you for just all the love, all the positivity, just all the sharing that goes on. And God, I pray that these podcasts resonate with somebody, even if it's just one somebody that needed to hear what was said. I pray that you just touch them, God, and that you show them that their life can be better, because that's what this is all about. We all want to be better and better and better. And it starts with that man in the mirror, because God, you know that I know sometimes I'm the problem. And I know that you know that they know that sometimes they're the problem. God, we thank you, we love you, and we give you all the glory, the honor, and the praise. Thank you, God, in Jesus' name. Thank y'all for watching. God bless you guys, and I will see y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Show somebody some love, you guys, and just do you. Enjoy your life. Take it a day at a time, you guys. Stay blessed. Bye.